Okay, recording started. So what got you interested in coaching?
Just generally trying to become a better player.
Okay.
Like when I reached out to you, I was about GM5.
Mm-hmm.
Right now I'm GM1, so I'm
Congrats.
pretty much hitting my goals. Thanks. I'm pretty much reaching my goals when it comes to ranked. Now I just want to be better, pretty much.
Okay, makes sense, makes sense. And how long have you been playing the game?
Since season 17 of Overwatch 1.
So quite a while.
That was like, yeah, yeah.
Okay, okay. And then what's your, I noticed that you're a support hero. How long have you been playing support?
Ever since I started,
Okay. What appealed to you about
like,
support initially?
Lucio, pretty much like, he was the first hero I played, and I just got hooked.
Okay, makes sense, makes sense. And are you on a team right now or you just play ranked?
I've been trying out for teams, but I'm not getting picked up at the moment.
Okay, okay. Good luck with that. And
Thank you.
don't take it too hard. I trialed when I was coaching. I was trialing for so many different teams before I figured out the team that I was going to be on. So don't sweat it too much. But okay, you're GM1. So first off, congratulations. That must feel pretty darn good.
Yeah.
Lucio, what do you hope to get out of the session? Better understanding of how to carry the games that seem unwinnable to me. Obviously, it's been about a month since you filled out the forms, and just let me know if any of these answers to these questions have changed. Okay,
Mhm.
hero pool and rank. Lucio, Bap, Ana, rest the main support heroes. What are your long-term and short-term goals? Get as good as possible. Short-term, hit top 500. So still maybe a little bit more pushing to push, at least in terms of rank goes. Okay,
Yeah.
so let's talk about training schedule right now. How much do you play the game? What's your average training schedule right now?
I play almost every day, about at least 3 hours usually, but I don't always play my main role or ranked because I usually play like off roles with friends
Okay, okay.
since
Uh,
they're lower ranked.
sure, makes sense. Okay. And then how much on, let's say, on the average ranked day where you're playing your role are you playing?
Probably about an hour.
Okay, okay. So top 500 is definitely going to be tough with that current output.
Hmm.
You're able to get the GM1 and you are playing the game a lot in general. And obviously you had your Overwatch 1 back on, which is giving you an advantage as well. But
Yeah,
if you're still super pushing for top 500, then it might be a little bit tough. Now, I will say this, that if you enjoy the amount of time that you're playing right now and you don't really want to change much on your schedule, that's fine.
hmm,
There's nothing wrong with just being, hey, I hit GM1, I hit my goal, I just like playing casually, and I just want to know what little details I could be doing better in my gameplay right now. That's fine. It just depends on where your ultimate goals are, if that makes sense.
yeah.
So, are you happy with where you're at? Do you want to keep pushing further? I mean, obviously, everybody wants
I
to
do
push
want to keep
further.
pushing for sure. Yeah,
Okay, okay, okay. And so for you, that might mean 2 hours a day, hour and a half a day at least of every single day playing ranked blue suit before you do the more casual play, if that makes any
yeah,
sense.
makes sense.
Okay. Do you have a warm up routine or you just kind of just go right in?
I do warm up, but I only warm up my aim.
Okay, okay. How do you warm up your aim?
I go into like one of those aim trainer codes
Okay,
and I just shoot things.
sure. Makes sense. About how long does that usually take you?
15 minutes.
Okay, yeah, that'll work. Um, yeah, I think that's fine there. Do you have any questions with the schedule so far?
No, I'm good.
Okay, sounds good. Let's keep looking here. So, long-term, short-term goals, and you say, what do you feel is holding you back? Well, sleep is definitely. Oh, by the way, sleep is definitely a little bit on the lower end. So 6 hours. I think even bumping that up to somewhere around 7 would be awesome if that's possible, especially when you're
Hmm.
pushing for the higher echelons. So just keep that in mind. And then in terms of what do you feel is holding you back from improving, understanding. What about your understanding specifically? And obviously, if this changed, let me know.
Yeah. For Lucio specifically, just like, what am I supposed to be doing in this situation? That's probably like the hardest thing about Lucio. And then just when I need to switch, like what heroes to play.
Okay. What situations do you feel lost? Are there several, or are there just mostly one or two, or what?
I feel like I kind of get caught up autopiloting whenever I'm on Lucio, like just following my tank and speeding them and not really thinking about if there's something better that I could do at that moment.
Okay. Makes sense. Yeah, I mean it's tricky, right? Like you're definitely like the quintessential speed your tank around, but it's not always what you ought to be doing, as obviously you're
Yeah.
aware, but you don't know exactly what else. Okay. And then knowing when to switch. So what circumstances are you looking to switch, or do you feel like you should swap, or what circumstances are you not sure about?
Um, I don't know. Like, I do have a lot of like brick one tricks, mercy one tricks on my team. In that situation, I usually play a different hero.
Mm-hmm.
And in that case, sometimes I'm not sure which one to play.
Okay. What are your favorite supports right now? Obviously Lucio, but what are your favorite out of the rest of
Yeah.
the support cast?
Um, I also like playing Ana, and I do like playing Zen. However, these are not my second and third best heroes. I'd say like, the typical main support heroes. Like Brig and Bab are probably my second and third
Okay.
strongest.
I think, for example, if you get like a Brig OTP, depending on the comp, going like a BAP would be fine. It really depends on the rest of your composition. Do any of the codes that you linked here have some of those situations where you didn't want to or couldn't play Lucio?
Um, yeah, I had a game earlier today where I was like, I had a Mercy on my team, and then there was at first the guy was playing Junker Queen. Um, so I was playing Bab,
Sure.
and then I realized this guy's going really deep. I can't really follow him. He'll just die instantly. So I went Lucio, and then the guy was like, "Nah, we shouldn't play Lucio Mercy. I need higher heals."
Huh. Yeah.
Yeah, then I went Ana, and then uh, he swapped as well, and then it kind of turned into like mystery heroes, and I got flamed, and yeah, that was
Yeah, I
it.
mean, people are idiots, right? They're going to do stuff regardless of whether you're doing the right thing or whether you're doing the wrong thing. So what I would
Yeah.
do is I would aim to make the best swap for the situation, and then
Mhm.
or play just practice, or even go like, okay, well, I want to practice Lucio, so I don't care if it's a Lucio Mercy comp. I'm going to make it work, and then
Yeah.
from there, at the very least, you're learning something or you're getting something out of it. But
Mhm.
I wouldn't worry too much about it. Would you like to analyze a few comps to see if you can practice that skill though?
Um, I don't know. I think I'll just stick to playing Lucio more often since he is also my best win rate.
Sure. For
Two
sure.
of the three codes I sent you, I think I played Lucio on them.
Okay, sounds good. I don't have anything else. As long as you're aware that your training structure, training schedule could be improved in quantity by a little bit, and then
Yeah.
as long as we're able to talk a little bit about, what would be good here, how do you play here, then I don't have a whole lot more. Do you have anything else that you want to go over before we get into the gameplay?
That's it.
Okay, what code do you want to start with?
Let's just go from top to bottom.
Top to bottom. Okay, G5. Get the screen share here. Okay, so let's take a look at my settings fixed up here. How's the volume level for you? Too quiet, too loud?
It's fine.
Okay, then we will leave as is. Okay, so obviously reasonable composition. You don't need a lot of healing with this one. You have the Kiriko already, so there's no point doing anything but Lucio, of course.
Yeah.
So this is the important thing here. One of the things that you have to understand with Lucio is that what you're doing when there's not a lot of push-pull, okay? So if you're not in a position to where you're going to need to kite, if you're not in a position if you're going to need to push, what do you do in the meantime? And I think that's where the gaps in knowledge might be. And I think if you look very carefully right here, you already have, at least in this particular instance, an answer to that question. You see?
Yeah, I'm
You
trying
being
to keep the tracer in check.
right, right. So what Lucio does is you control space by trying to position yourself on the person that needs assistance. Brig, Bap, Mercy, all of those heroes are better pockets. Kiriko even are better pockets than you. But the difference between you, at least with other than Kiriko, is the fact that you can reposition yourself to where you're needed much more rapidly than they can. In other words, if this was a Brig on the Ashe, I think this Ashe would be happier, right?
Yeah.
But a Brig couldn't be with the Ashe and then also immediately reposition to speed their Junker Queen and then go back to the Ashe, right? And the same thing applies to really any pocket hero. Even Mercy herself is too much of a liability. She can pocket more, but she in of herself is fragile, whereas Lucio is not. So for you, you're thinking, are we likely to push? Okay, maybe now we are. So then where do you need to be right now?
Probably with my tank.
Exactly where you are right now. Right, right. Now, at this point in time, obviously we would like to see speed. I don't know if I would see speed boost, but I wouldn't be mad if we saw a speed boost. But yes, certainly go on speed. And then are you controlling space by denying their off angles, or are you going for something aggressive at this point in time?
I'll probably go in aggressively since they're down one.
Sure. And what would that look like? Versus let's just play it out a little bit.
So what I did, I think, I amped speed, went on someone. My Junker Queen was going to the right, so I just followed her.
Right. Okay. Let's take a look. So that boop needs to hit. Because what aggression looks like depends. That might be aggression and denying their Lucio so that he can't boop your Junker Queen back. It might be denying their Doomfist to disengage. It might be booping their Kiriko in to force a Suzu, right? But that boop does need to hit.
Is this in slow-mo?
It's a little bit slower than usual, yeah.
Ah, okay.
0.75, yeah. You're not moving that slowly. So, let's talk about this.
Probably wasted amp.
Yeah. So, here's the thing. Do you need to move from where you're at right now?
Not really.
No. Why?
Because my tank's not really in danger, and it doesn't seem like we're pushing at the moment.
I want you to think about, if we're not pushing, I'm going to position myself for the most fragile member of my team and assist them. And then, so for right now, you're properly positioned, correct?
Yeah.
And are you too far to speed boost your tank in or out, depending on the circumstance?
No, I could probably stay on that wall and the aura would still hit.
Right. So you're perfectly positioned right now. So you reposition to your tank here, but it makes no sense because your tank would get speed boost if you wanted to push now anyway. And all you've done now is you've opened up your Ashe to getting poked out, right? You're not controlling space with where you're at right now. You know where this Doomfist is likely to go.
Fair enough.
Right? So you've also risked your life. You've wasted an amp. Maybe you amped because you thought you needed to in crossing. And now you are the one needing peeling instead of the one peeling. And now we see what the result of that is.
Yeah.
Right? So here, there's two modes of Lucio. There's preventative / passive. And there's reactive / active. Okay? And what I mean by that is you are either controlling the space by denying the enemy team or pressuring out the enemy team's off angles and helping your team control off angles, or you're speed boosting your team in or out. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. And if you need to recognize when you're in between those two modes and position yourself accordingly. And a lot of the times your song also mirrors that. In the first one, you're usually heal song, right? In the second, you're usually speed. Nice shots.
Thanks.
So like right here, right? We're just in. We're in. Speed. Okay, then now what mode are we in? Because it's very fast, isn't it?
Definitely trying to push the offense, going aggressively.
Right. And so then now we're on speed. Now we want you to go in aggressively. Okay, let's keep looking. And you'll see this in all compositions. You'll see this in Dive, you'll see this in Brawl. Anything where Lucio is played, there's a very clear dichotomy between when we're going in and when we're going out. Now, I understand why you're here, because your Junker Queen is kind of baiting you, But you
Yeah, I
kind of
also
need,
noticed like we only need one person on the bot.
right, but you need
That's
to kind of realize, you need to kind of use your sense here, right? You know that this Junker Queen is not going to be pushing. And you know that this Junker Queen, if she has even half of a brain, will be using
Yeah.
cover, right? If she dies, honestly, screw her. She deserves it. I mean, really, truly, you don't. I think she knows her limits here. Honestly, I don't think you need to be here. So, what mode are we in realistically right now? Passive, controlling space, or pushing?
Controlling space, passively
Right.
playing.
So, let me ask you, where should you be? You don't have it on your screen, but where should you be?
Probably where I am right now, a little more to the left, so I can maybe poke them on that high ground.
Sure. That's a more selfish angle, right? You don't have to be with somebody to control spaces, Lucio. Let's say there's like a tracer over here, or you had a really good spam angle. That's good, right? Pressuring their high ground, exactly. So even if you're not with your tank, you would still be able to shoot more on their high ground, which would help your team. How? How does shooting this high ground help your team control space?
Well, they will be taking damage,
Yes,
and they might be forced out to back
right.
up a little bit.
It might not help your team control space, but it will help prevent the enemy team from leveraging their hit a couple of headshots, maybe your tank takes less damage. But I'm going to go one step further. I think that there's a position that reasonably is even more important. You ready for this one? Watch this. Do you see this?
Top right. Oh.
Do you see this?
With my Ashe.
With your Ashe. Now, she's kind of trolling, but there was a window there where you could have assisted your Ashe a little bit. And even now, right? Even now, you're kiting your Junker Queen out. But as soon as this happens, my immediate thought is, where can I help? Who is under the most pressure, right?
Yeah.
So now we're in the active stage, right? But you've already burned your amp. Do you notice?
Yeah.
So whether you wanted to play with your Ashe or whether you wanted to stay here and shoot high ground, you positioning up there and burning your amp when you need to be pushing backwards now is the big crime. And really right now you should be on speed. Like as soon as they use this, I want speed as quickly as you can.
Yeah.
And staying on speed. Staying on speed. Don't get caught in the trap of, oh, I see somebody who could be. No. The best thing they need to do is get behind a wall, right? Your healing is meaningless. So it's reading the tempo of the battle and then reading about where you need to be best positioned. Because at this point in the game, your mechanics in terms of your wall riding, I'm sure could be better. But it's going to be about actually like translating the wall riding skills that you have into actually positioning where you need to be quickly. That's what separates the men from the boys. Now, this is where it gets hard, isn't it? Because what are you thinking here? What are the mixed signals that are happening right now on your screen?
Well, we want to be aggressive with the Bob, but at the same time, their Doomfist is going in.
Yes. And also look at the position that your team is holding right now, too. Right? Are you guys going to drop off of high ground and push? I don't know.
Probably not.
I don't know, right? It's hard. I really don't know. So that's okay. You're not in a team environment, so that it's going to be harder to use. But you don't need to predict. You need to react, right?
Yeah.
Whether that's to what the enemy team is doing or what your team is doing. So what should you do right now?
I'll probably try to help with the Doom.
And then what happens if your Junker Queen drops and pushes?
Then she's probably dead.
Well, what should you try and do if you see her drop and push?
Stay with her and help her pressure
so
the backline.
I would assume that I'm going to help my Doom, but if I see my Junker Queen pushing and I think that I can help her, I'm going to go with her. I'm going to react to what's actually happening. Don't amp here. It's general help, right? But it's not good enough to justify the use of that cooldown.
Yeah.
Like this amp isn't useless, obviously, but it's not. A bad amp isn't a useless amp. A bad amp is a not as useful as 5 seconds later from now amp, right? Right. Now, amp speed. Big stagger, right? Amp speed on your soldier, right? And again, look at where you're hugging, right? Not that Junker Queen doesn't benefit from speed right now, but you're not keeping aware of your periphery and seeing who really, really is pushing. And it's not even the queen. It's your soldier. Oh, unlucky. Okay. Is all this making sense so far?
Yeah, everything's making sense.
Okay, good. Yeah, one of the best skills that you could do is to keep aware of who's around you before a fight starts, so that you can you don't have to like, oh shoot, the Doomfist is the Ashes over there. Like you should try and like, remember when the Ash coach got up here and like the soldier pushed with visor, right? And then the Doomfist dove your Ash over here, right? You kind of want to already know where they are before they go, so you can kind of decide quickly.
Yeah.
Now, what mode are we in right now?
Heals for no reason.
Are you sure? Are you going to be pushing this?
No, but
are you going to be kiting this right now?
We'll probably stay until someone pushes up on us.
So I don't think this is a mistake. I think the heal song is fine, and I also think your positioning is quite good because you're controlling space, right? Your tank line's not pushing, right? So why do you need to be with your tank line, right? Who's the most aggressive off angle you can help? Your Kiriko. Now your Kiriko doesn't need help to get out, but if you're here, not only can you do damage with her, but also you might be allowing her to stay here longer, right?
Yeah.
And do more pressure. Now, this is where I'm not sure, and I think I need to go ask Funny Astro this. I don't know whether sitting on heal song or speed song here is better. My gut says heal song, but I can also see the argument for speed song, so you're able to react quicker and get out. But I would say I would be in heal song here because I don't think you're going to need to immediately run away. Yeah. Maybe if it was like a Winston that could dive you at any second, but there's not. The Doomfist is dead. I think all you're really worried about is a little bit of poke damage, where heal song's probably better here. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So you're fine here. I like this. This is good. Just because it's a Kiriko doesn't mean that she won't benefit from the help, right? Okay, then now you have to drop. That's okay. Now, you can smell it, right?
Yeah.
And this is where it's very hard because you're thinking, do I want to play with my Ashton controlled space? Because she might coach gun up here, but also I feel like my queen's about to push. So what do you think you should do?
I think I made the right decision going with my queen.
I agree. I think she looks like she's about to push, so you're going to go with her. Now, I know what you're doing right now, and that makes me sad.
Early, probably.
Right. Well, you're amping because you're going to her, but you need to be able to be comfortable enough wall riding and predictive, reactive, whatever you want to do, so that you don't need this amp here. You should be, I mean, look, you're already here, right? So just sit here, sit on heal song, and then if she starts to push, immediately amp speed. Or not even amp speed, because she might shot like right now, like amp speed, right?
Yeah.
Now, this is why it's so important for you to be able to do this as Lucio, because you're thinking right now, are you peeling right now?
No.
Do you need to peel right now?
No.
Where are their dive threats?
Genji's in front of me, and he has no deflect. And that's pretty much it, I think.
And Doom, Lucio, Genji, anybody that could possibly kill your Ashes on your screen right now. True. So this is why, as Lucio, you talk about, do I peel, do I push? Yes. If you control space properly and then react to your tank pushing, a lot of the enemy's dive resources won't be a problem because your dive in of itself will be drawing their attention. Do you see that?
Yes.
So if you are obviously like that, Genji could ignore you and push backline, but then your queen would still be pushing something, right? So basically the idea is that if you play this correctly, red light, green light, you won't, sometimes you'll get your backline traded, right? Maybe a Sombra decloaks in your backline and you go, oh, maybe I should have played my backline. I get it. But more often than not, you won't have to worry about doing which one, because if you do, you can do both. Like right now, your queen is putting out pressure, baiting resources, and you don't have to worry about which one to do because you're doing both.
Yeah, try to save the soldier. Late.
So the big one is the amp one, though. That's the habit that we need to change, though.
For sure.
This is his fault. You are in position to help him. You are helping him. I just don't like the beat because you're never going to be able to reactively save somebody like that, right? Either they're going to be fine or they're not going to be fine, And neither way, the beat's not going to matter. Either you beat when you have ample time to react to something like the enemy visor, beat, blade, dumolt, whatever, or you just beat mid-fight and just win the fight with it, right? That's all. Bad beat, but not your fault that he died. What do you think?
They counter beat should get out.
Bit weird of an amp, because
I just saw the Kitsune going
right,
off,
right, and then they right, but then you guys Kitsune, and so you're like, I guess we're staying. Now, what should you do right now? Because you have two choices, and I don't care which one you do, but you better darn well do one of them well.
Probably tell my team to get out of there.
Dude, that involves communication. That's not going to work. Not ranked.
Yeah, sure.
So be realistic here. What are your two playstyles as Lucio?
What was it? Proactive, reactive.
Mm-hmm. That's it. Control space or push. Or kite, right? Your team is pushing here, so there's no kiting, right? So you either push or control space. What does push look like right now?
It wouldn't look too promising since we're already down one.
But it's already happening.
A bit of beat.
It's already happening, right? So my point is if you're going to push right now, what will you be doing?
Then I either go all in or I go all out.
Mm-hmm. Now, what does controlling space look like? Where's the space that's important to control? Where's the peel?
Kind
of what you're doing right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, denying the doom engage, or you don't have time to do this, but let's just say that you could magically teleport. You see this on the right hand side of your screen.
I would deny the Genji from getting my Ash.
Control your Ash on the off angle. Now, I'm going to be honest, impossible, right?
Yeah,
it would have been nice to be there, but you were pushing with your queen, which was reasonable. Then the Kiriko, so I don't have a problem with this. But yeah, I think it's just a good thinking exercise. Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. Okay, I'm more annoyed at the beat and the amp usages, right? Because we're not concerned in what's going to win us fights. We're concerned in things that are going to build good habits that will win us more fights over the long term, right? Wow.
Would have been nice to have beat here.
Yes, that's okay. Now you got a decision to make here, don't you?
Yeah, I think someone was fighting on the right side, and then my queen was also in their back line.
So you decide. What do you think? Obviously, we have the benefit of hindsight here, but yeah, I honestly, here's the thing. I don't care. Really, I don't care. Because you can look at this both ways and be like, oh, I need to help my Ashe, but your Ashe, I think, is dead. I don't think you can help your Ashe. And you can also be like, well, my queen is feeding, and they probably just Suzu'd her ultimate. Doesn't even matter. Yeah, just it doesn't matter. Choose. Fine.
So my Junker Queen just used Rampage here, so I was thinking somebody's gonna be antied, I'm gonna help kill them.
Works for me. Works for me. That was fine. And we had a good amp there on the blade, so even though you didn't have beat, we can at least check that one off. Now, this is important, because when we talk about you controlling space, it's two things you've noticed. Think about the very first fight. Were you shooting Tracer to peel your Ashe, or were you shooting Tracer to get rid of the Tracer on the angle? Was it a peel, or was it a pressure?
More a pressure.
It was a trick question. It's both. But it's both, right? It's both.
Yeah,
why not both, right? You can peel your Ashe and clear the Tracer at the same time. Now, the reason why I distinguish the two is because this is a situation where, like, is there anybody in your team that's going to die? Are you peeling anybody right now when you pressure the soldier?
No.
No, but is it worth doing? Okay, it's kind of trolling right now. I'm not going to lie with you. You're kind of by yourself. But is the concept of what you're doing wrong?
It's not.
No, because who's going to kill your team? Is it going to be the Junker Queen or the Lucio? Or not Junker Queen. Doomfist, Lucio?
No.
No. It's going to be the soldier on the flank. And if you do not at least distract and keep the soldier busy, then your team might die, right?
Yeah.
And you can tell that because he is on a high ground, on an offing, on a powerful position. And it's also a matchup that's very, very favorable for you, right? It's not a good 1v1 for him. You won't kill him necessarily, but he won't kill you either. That's what you got to be thinking here, right?
Yes.
So I don't like that the time that you're doing it is now. I would like you to be a little bit more patient and wait. Maybe just sit with your team. But pretty soon, you are going to need to go up here and not speed your queen. Now, like, let's say we get to card about here, and then your queen starts to push, and the soldier's still on the off angle. Oh boy, you got a really tough decision, don't you? But right now, you don't have to decide. Are we going to push on the core, or are we going to control space? We could do both. You see, you are thinking, I'm going to boop this guy with high ground and kill him.
Yeah.
But the very act of doing that is also helping and peeling your team. You see that?
Yeah.
That's why Reddit Lucio is so good. And it's a must in a lot of circumstances. Because even if you don't get the kill there, the fact that he's going to run over here and demand healing, he's not a threat over here.
True.
You know? So that was good. I'm a little concerned about when you went. You kind of see what I'm saying though, right? Just a little early.
Yeah, like the Hanzo was not busy at all.
Right. So let's think about a good timing here. Let's look at this battlefield. When would you go for this play?
Probably around now.
Yeah, I agree. This would be perfect, especially if you see like the Doomfist do this, and then now the Hanzo's got distractions. Now you can walk forward. Now your Ashe can actually walk forward, and she could even take an angle off of that. So yeah, I agree. You're killing me with these amps. Killing me with these amps because is your Junker Queen pushing right now?
Yeah, but only on the Doomfist, who she's right next to anyways.
Right, who she's right next to anyway. She doesn't need the speed. So if anything, you sit on speed here and wait to push in a second. Or if you want to show off, which would be feeding, but I would at least be logical, what could you do with this amp? Think selfishly. And again, feeding, but the principle.
Speed into their backline.
Yes, you could go dive the backline and just speed in and just boop the Hanzo and just be just a rat, right? I wouldn't recommend it, but at least now would be a good time because you would know that by doing so, the Hanzo would not be shooting your team, the Doomfist would get no healing, and it would at least serve a purpose because the amp would allow you to do something that you otherwise would not be able to do. This amp provides nothing. Nothing, right? Now, not only that, your queen was not pushing. Your queen was not in a position to push. So where was your presence most needed?
With my squishies.
Control. Well, not just your squishies.
My sniper.
Your sniper. Well, actually, not just your sniper. Think about it. Don't think about it from a target perspective. Think about it from a positioning perspective. Watch
the most vulnerable team.
Right. The most aggressively positioned squishy. I mean, you could literally close your eyes and just pretend that any hero other than Asher, Zenyatta, Baptiste, Torbjorn, anybody, right? Now, obviously, if a Reaper's there, whatever. But, the general concept. And the reason why she dies first, you want to know why she dies first? This is more of a philosophical question, right? It's because she's the one who's actually shooting the enemy team. You see that? Her position allows her to actually do damage, and your soldier and Kiriko are doing jack all, right? Same thing with your queen, right? They're just kind of trading on Doom. Your Ashe is the one that's actually going to get the kill here, so you need to be here. Now, again, you're not the best at doing this. Brig, Mercy would be much better here, but you could deny the Doomfist. You can amp heal when the Doomfist dives and keep her alive. You won't kill the Doom, but you'll keep her alive. And that's on you. And this is what makes Lucio so hard, is like being able to not only read the battlefield like that, but then obviously mechanically being able to quickly reposition and going, oh, my queen is pushing, I'm going to leave my Ashe and help my queen. Because remember, if your queen had used Shout and pushed up here, would you have need to peel for your Ashe?
Depends on how early, because if the Doom already left for her, then probably.
You know what's funny is your Ashe doesn't even die to Doom. Watch this. Look at what actually kills your Ashe.
The Hanzo.
It's the Hanzo. You see?
Yeah.
It's the Hanzo. So again, the question is if your Doom is pushing or your queen is pushing, do you need to peel your Ashe?
No.
No. Now, it still might be the better play in some circumstances, right? I'm not trying to say it's always the play, but you see how it's a much more complicated question. And so if you had pushed with your queen when she was actually pushing, then you wouldn't have needed to have gone, oh, should I have peeled her? Doesn't matter. You were fine. Problem was that you were peeling your queen or assisting your queen even with amp when nothing was happening. And that's the problem.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you beat this, yeah, there you go, right? Totally fine. Plenty of time to react. Totally fine. Now, this is the juice. Is your queen pushing?
Let's see. No.
Okay. Could you have expected her to push?
Yeah, once the dragon.
So why
is
are
gone.
you sitting on your Kiriko? What could you be doing here?
Go to an off angle with one of my DPS.
What else could you be doing
Or
here?
be more aggressive with my...
Exactly. You need to choose here, because here's the thing is I'm not going to tell you that you should be playing with your soldier 100%. I do think that this is the correct play, but you could also play with your queen off of the push with beat, amp speed, Kiriko ult, and then fly in here, boop the Doomfist in, right?
Yeah.
Or boop the Lucio away, or go in and Reddit Lucio the soldier, right? Totally reasonable. Mm-hmm. This is a push play, right?
Yeah.
Or you control space and peel off their counter push. I don't care which one you do. I'm just offended that your soldier's getting no help and your Junker Queen's getting basically minimal health here. You have your amp here too. All the times to amp and push, you know? Go in on that Doomfist, right? Go get him. Now, you guys use so many ults that it doesn't even matter, but you can see the theory there that this is like, it's the same mistakes, even though you were covered for there. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, this is very important because you can probably predict that very little pushing is going to be happening very soon and absolutely zero pushing is going to be happening now. So where should you be, or where could you be? I don't even know, honestly. I can't see jack all. But that's your problem, not mine, right? What's happening?
Yeah.
What's happening to the right? What's happening to the left? Do you know?
Not really. I'd probably go up there. Yeah.
I mean, it's honestly really important that this soldier has help right now.
Yeah.
Really important. Not here, but here.
Right.
You want to guess what's going to happen? I'm going to predict.
He's going to die?
Oh my day. Like, really important that you're here. Really important that you're here. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, look at this. If you guys might actually win this fight off of this guy's shoulders. You should be here. You should be here. You know? You see? Look at how you're winning this fight, and look at how you're going to lose this fight. You know? Yeah, just something to consider, because you're putting yourself in the horde. I mean, obviously you shouldn't have died there, but also this is where you were going to win this fight, especially given the ults that they had. Made a lot more sense for you to kind of let your Junker Queen go on an island, maybe amp her out, but for crying out loud. So that's where we get a little bit of nuance. When you have fights where you have a lot of ults, maybe you're playing more to amp your tank in, amp your team in, more active. When your team is playing more for space or doesn't have a lot of ults, you're playing more for controlling angles, controlling space, things like that, right? Mm-hmm. Something to consider. Now here, there's nothing else to do outside of play with your team because nobody's taking any space. Nice.
Oh god.
I understand, you know, the funny thing is like, what you're doing here is not even bad if it wasn't a queen or a tank. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate that you're reacting to what's going on over here and going, you know what, my team is fine. This guy's in a bad spot. I'm going to help him out. I just don't think the amp is necessary, right? Yeah. And especially because it's a tank, I don't even know that the repositioning is necessary. Now, if you want to amp speed now and push in, okay. But I'm still more concerned about these guys on high ground than I am about your queen, right? And then if your queen chooses to push, you can leave these guys and go push with her. But obviously now the problem keeps happening to where you're amping like heals in a static cooldown trade, and yet at the same time not controlling space with it. Right?
Yeah.
You're not amping healing on a Doomfist diving your backline, nor are you amping your speed on your queen end. You're just kind of sitting on your queen with heals, and then oh no, you know, and then this is, and there it is, right?
Yeah.
Do you see it? There it is. And we could predict that. And the problem with Lucio is, while you are very fast, if you're not trying to at least predict some of these things, at least a little bit, then you're never going to be fast enough. You know what's faster than a Lucio peeling back? An armor pack, right?
Yeah.
A mercy beam. So if you're not at least trying to predict a little bit, then it's going to be a lot harder for you. Because you look behind you and you're like, oh man, it's too late, right? Even Funny Aster couldn't make that transition fast enough. This is fine. She's just trolling. Yep, nicely done. Get to cover, get to cover, get to cover, get to cover. Nice. Now, this makes sense, okay? Because you are doing what type of play?
I'm pushing up on
what is now vulnerable right now, though?
My backline.
To controlling space, right? You did not appeal or control and mark this Doom, right? On the angle, right? This is, but is what you're doing at least logical?
Yeah.
Yes, the queen is pushing, we are pushing, you are speeding your tank in. So do you know what? I'm totally fine with this. I can make a good argument for being here instead, but I actually like this too. In fact, this might actually be the better play. Now, if we're talking big brain strategy here, we know that they have beat and Visor. You're probably going to die for this. So I think that technically, if we include all factors, this is not the best play, but you don't need to count all factors. This is good enough. This is better than what we've been doing, right? And that's the goal, is to be better than what we're doing. So I'm totally fine with this. This actually makes sense. You don't have your amp, but it's because you got your amp forced by a Doom ult. It's okay. This is good. And it might even work. And it does. Look at you. Nice job. Really, really, really good job. This is great. This is phenomenal work. And then now you just need to survive and just find your targets. Nice shots. Like really, truly, that was great. You see why that felt good though, right?
Yeah.
It felt like you were actually, when you actually pushed, you were there. And then even before then, when the Doomfist pushed in, you were ready to peel with backline. Now, it's not always easy to do that, but that's the goal, is to try and read the movements or predict the movements as best as you can. Now, you're trolling. Okay? The funny thing is that your positioning is not trolling. You're actually in a fine position, right? Because look at where you're at. What are you doing right now in terms of your positioning?
I'm supporting my soldier and my Junker Queen a bit.
Yep, you're controlling space, right? You're assisting your Junker Queen a little bit, but if you actually think about who's the most fragile, most aggressive angle right now, it's your soldier, right? If this Doomfist engages, it's going to be on your soldier. So you're already here, ready to peel them off. Nice work. And you get a little bit of passive assistance to your queen. But again, I ask you, is your queen pushing, like really pushing right now?
I just predicted her. Wait, did I amp speed?
You do.
I think I predict. Oh, yeah.
This is the mistake. Now, you're also crossing out in the open here, but that's the mistake. Because I just don't see... when does your queen need speed?
When she's going on the backline, not
right,
really
when she's actually
right next to the Doom.
Right, when she's actually closing the distance on something. With a hero that's not just going to just disengage, right?
Yeah.
If this was a queen mirror... I wouldn't necessarily mind the amp speed here. This is where the hero gets tough, right? You know, if this is a queen mirror, you know, it's fine. But yeah, not great. Now, I will say that the way that you're behaving is at least logical. I don't love it, but it's at least logical. Look at what you're doing. Yeah. You're on the angle. You see your queen, quote unquote, pushing, I guess. So you amp speed across, and you actually go in. And you even boop him out in the open. He might die here, and that would be your fault. Not bad. Not good, but also not bad. Now, right now, you know that you're not pushing. So if you get the opportunity to, where do you need to be?
I'll probably go to the right side.
You don't have the opportunity right now. You get your head blown off. But if you get the opportunity, yeah you want to go there. Okay. So then, okay.
I think my Ash didn't get it here. Yeah.
Reasonable, right? Reasonable. Yeah. Go get her. Oh, that was good. That was good. Not bad. Not bad. Obviously, the result's not pretty, but, you know, that was fine. And there it is again, right? Controlling space. Even who you shoot should be dictated by that, right? If you were shooting Doomfist, you'd be an idiot. Even if you miss most of your shots, shots and Soldier here matter so much. Almost flamed you from trolling, but you actually were pushing with it, so I'm okay. And there you go. Nice job. Nice. 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 All right, I want to see this. Lots of good things about your Lucio play.
Yeah. I think I trolled last fight.
That's okay. Okay, again, I don't think the amp was necessary. It feels like you're getting baited by the push call, right? And then now you're gonna die for it. I'm curious to see what happens with Ikiri. Oh, she just trolls too. Yeah, honestly, a lot better towards the end. So let's keep going. But what are you seeing so far?
Mostly poor amp usage. I think that's the main issue.
Right, amp that don't feel like they have a purpose is the thing. Either kiting, pushing, or just quote-unquote peeling or winning a 1v1. There's lots of uses for amp, but sometimes you're just amping for just general pressure on your tank, even though your tank isn't moving, and that just doesn't cut it for me.
Yeah.
Okay. And then in addition to that, I think a little bit more attention to whether you should be controlling space, whether it's setting up an aggressive angle yourself or peeling or protecting your angle, or whether your tank is in a position to kite or push. I think that little dichotomy there would be something to put more attention into, because that can help you decide where you need to be positioning at any given point in time. Let's keep going. You want to move on to the next code?
Sure, let's go.
Okay, let's check this out. 9W.
This game might have been a win even. It was just...
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I only got to play Lucio on 2 maps today, so...
Now, this is a great composition for talking about what we talked about. Because controlling space, what is that going to look like?
Booping the ball whenever he's trying to roll
else?
in. And speeding my Reinhardt.
Sure. Well, okay, so remember, it's controlling spaces and like controlling angles, right? So
not taking space. Control,
Tracer, right? These are heroes that you could duel and mark, assisting your Cassidy or Torbjorn, right? Or even your Ana to take angles and do damage. Or push-pull, right?
Yeah.
Push in with your Ryan, RKO the Zenyatta in the backline, right? It's going to be a lot of nuance here, right? So right now, obviously peeling ball, okay? But for example, right now, you're kind of doing neither, right? So like right now, you need to be very quick. What could you be doing right now? What should you be doing right now? 2 options.
Either be more forward with my Reinhardt or check on my backline and see if they're
Sit on
your
backline and murder this guy. Completely ruin his day. Lucio is a monstrous ball counter if you play it well. One of the best in the game, if not the best in the game. But if you're falling asleep at the wheel, you know, like you are right now, not marking Tracer, not marking ball, not peeling backline, like right now, of what benefit are you right now?
None.
None. Either you enable your backline to play more aggressive because you're marking the ball tracer so that they can help Ryan more, or you directly help your Ryan more so that, okay, yeah, your backline's struggling, but also their backline is struggling too. You see that?
Yeah.
You're doing neither. And I think here, given the positioning of their backline, it's probably more reasonable for you to mark here and look for an opportunity mid-fight to push. And you can react to your Reinhardt pushing, obviously, as well. But this is, I mean, this is logical, I guess, but I don't know it's optimal. And I'm more concerned about what happened early on. You see, the funny thing is you're reacting to peel instead of just being there in the first place. And I don't like that. And you're spending most of the time shooting Sojourn instead of looking at Tracer, right? Yes. That's the most value found in the last 30 seconds. is what you did right there. Understandable amp. But obviously at this point in time it's like it's a little too late. And then even here, like, right, as you guys are kiting out, you can already predict where you should have been or tried to have been, right? With the more isolated angle. Because here's the thing is if this Torbjorn survives, there's a chance that this ball or Tracer takes more damage. Maybe they die, maybe he hits a shot. You never know, right? But if anybody, it's going to be your Torbjorn, not your Ana. Not because Ana is bad or Cassie's bad, but just look at the positioning. Look at the positioning of where they're at. You could predict. It's very difficult, but this is what you need to be thinking about. And if you limit test and are thinking about this all the time, you will get better at it. You will fail lots, but you'll at least be learning. Like again here, right?
Yeah.
Like, you see how you're playing ping pong here? You're going back and forth and back and forth. Just stick with an angle and win it, right? Just make a decision with what you want to do. I'm going with queen, or I'm going to sit with my Ana, or I think my Cassie's got an aggressive angle. Just sit with it.
Oh man.
It's a prediction, right? It's like maybe we'll push here, but obviously no.
Yeah.
And then now you're stuck doing basically nothing with your current positioning. Well, this is almost as ugly as I am.
I think you're handsome.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. So wait a second. Is that you trying to compliment your gameplay? Nice. Good. I mean, obviously everything feels better once you get off into a good start. But all right, I want to see this.
Once we use 5 volts.
Yes. That was all you guys needed. Get her. This is the marking, right? You're thinking, yep. I don't think we're gonna push. I don't want to push, so I'm gonna make this Tracer's life miserable, so that my Ana can relax, right? So you're going a little far, but your heart's in the right place. Don't do it. Don't do it. Because here's the thing. You got 2 options right now, right? You mark the ball Tracer, or you help your Torbjorn on the angle, right? You could do both. But you got to choose, right?
Yeah,
you got to choose.
I won't really be helping him by poking the children from far away.
Right. Because it's about risk versus. It's not even risk versus reward. It's just return on investment. What are the odds here of like this little chipped image from across the map actually mattering on a pocketed Sojourn, right? Yeah. Next to none. So just, I wouldn't be mad if you were here, but you got to pick, right? If you're gonna go, you got to go now, right?
Yeah.
In fact, if you see the ball Tracer leave this angle and rotate over here, it might be wise to go ahead and get over here. Right? Because you can probably predict that your Torb's in trouble. Yep. Now you might be thinking, okay, you've peeled off the ball, but you look at your queen. Maybe we're gonna go for that queen. But you see here, I'm actually not a fan of this position because this is peeling off a queen, which obviously tank, but really, is this queen gonna be pushing? No. So actually, who's the more important person to enable right now in terms of positioning?
My Cassidy.
Or
I could peel for my Ana.
Who's got the more aggressive angle? You see this? So from here, you would be like, okay, I mean, this is really funny. Both supports just ignoring each other. But actually here, if this Ana is able to focus and not get distracted, she's going to save your queen, not you.
True.
Your speed boost isn't going to matter here because your queen has nowhere to kite and she's not going to be pushing. So instead here, what should you be doing? Peeling off your Ana or?
I should hold off the Zen.
Exactly. Go kill this guy. Seriously, mess him up. Boop him off the high ground. Didn't prevent him, because that's going to be more healing indirectly than you could ever do onto a tank.
Yeah.
Right? That's why healing a tank generally as Lucio just isn't worth it. Speed boost, that matters, but that doesn't matter right now. So you are doing absolutely nothing here. Now, you do get some shots on Tracer, which is good. If the Tracer focuses your tank, she's being an idiot, by the way. That's her mistake. But that is good value, right? Because you could deny a lot of damage to your tank by marking Tracer. But obviously here it is. It's just... Yeah, it's not good. And then this Zen is still just like, It's hard. It's hard. I mean, listen, if you can get here without getting scouted or without taking damage, this is peeling, right?
Yeah.
This is more help than you staying on your Cassidy right now. I promise you. Look at that. Just force slide by yourself. Nicely done. Find that Tracer. Yeah. Keep her busy. No surprises. I know where she is. Pinging there is helpful as well, right?
Yeah.
Very slow to react, but reasonable. Yes, yes, yes. Nice. Now, I know that your queen is in trouble now, but this is good. You've done a great job. You have allowed, like, let me ask you this question. What does your Ana have to worry about right now?
Only Tracer.
Not
once she
even.
comes back.
Not even.
Yeah.
Not even Tracer, right? Right? You forced her out. So your Ana could totally relax. Nice job. And your Ana being able to totally relax allows for that, right?
Yeah.
And then now you're pushing in with your queen. Reasonable. Shaky, but reasonable, right?
Mm-hmm.
Good beat. And now we just mess it up. We just totally ruin their days. I would, yeah, focus on the DPS here. So ball's good to deny, but obviously like mid-fight shooting ball is just kind of like troll mode, you know? Even if you miss half your shots, better to shoot Tracer. Oh, nice, dude. Nice shots. That is so satisfying. I don't play a lot of Lucio, but hitting shots with that guy is something else, right? Feels so good. Okay.
Yeah.
Really, really quite good there at the end. Really quite good. And again, bleeding that over into Coliseo, what were you doing well? Transition our talking points with the amps and with the controlling space. What were you doing well?
I guess my amp usage was slightly better than the last map.
It had a purpose with what you're amping. Not all of them. Some of them were bad.
Yeah.
But there was a purpose, whether it was a solo play, a peel amp, a speed amp, had purpose. It wasn't just sitting on tank, heal amp, standing still.
Yeah, and my positioning was probably slightly worse. I don't know.
I wouldn't necessarily compare the two. I would just think about like the concepts were the same, you know? Like mark Tracer ball, control space by either enabling an off-angle or doing an off-angle thing yourself, or speed boost your tank around. This match, the value of the speed boost on tank was very low just because of how open it was.
Yeah.
Do you see the pulse bomb slowly dropping on my screen?
Yeah.
That is something else. And I think most of your mistakes were not being decisive with what you wanted to do with your value. Did it mark the ball Tracer or speed boost your tank? Control help your Torb or help your Ana. You floated around and did a whole lot of nothing for the majority of the map and then really turned it on at the end.
Got it.
So what are the skills that you need to improve? What are the things that you need to improve on with your Lucio play?
Definitely amp usage. That shit's horrible.
Okay, so let's do this. Lucio. Amp use. Have a purpose with your amp. Solo play, push, kite, anything like that, right?
Yeah, I kind of tend to like, even with BAP, when I see my tank taking a lot of damage, I just tend to amp it. Like, you know, with BAP, there's also the regenerative burst. I also used that one way too early.
Yeah, because that's a mistake of a different type for Baptiste, but it's the same kind of thing where it's like, okay, it's 100 healing, but is that 100 healing worth losing that 150 healing potentially for yourself or for somebody else, right? Okay, what else?
Indecisiveness.
With what?
On what to do. I kind of just like do a little bit of all my options instead of focusing on one.
And then understanding the push, pull, reactive, or let's say active controlling with tank front line with speed, or controlling marking enemy DPS angles, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's easy to see the second one to be like, oh, I'm peeling, but as we saw on that last fight, diving Zen is also controlling space.
Yeah.
You know, that would have been of more use for you than sitting inside of your tank, right? If your tank isn't moving, it's just often not better to be on your tank. It's better to assist the tank by controlling the periphery around. Get the Zen, stop discording him. Control the Tracer to stop her from distracting your Ana. Dive their Mercy so that their Ana has to turn around and stops nading your tank, and so on, right? You know, remember the soldier play on Colosseo, right? And how that was taking a lot of pressure off of your team. It wasn't perfectly timed, but because your tank wasn't in a position to push and you didn't need or want to push, that was the best thing that you could be doing. Remember your Ashe. Okay, we're not pushing and pulling. We don't need speed boost. We don't want speed boost. Then I should never be with my tank. And the reason why that's so important is because that's actually more often than not what you're going to be doing with Lucio. Now, I understand the meta that we're in right now is Junker Queen. So you're going to be playing with a lot of Junker Queen. So in this current meta, probably going to get more value out of the push-pull with tank and frontline and doing a good job with that. Great. However, Winston, Sigma, you know, Diva, Wrecking Ball, Doomfist, you can kind of see where I'm going with this, right? Where there's a lot more, not passive Lucio play, but both passive and aggressive Lucio play, but not on your tank, right? Think dive mirrors, even heck, if you're going to play Lucio and double sniper on Junkertown, if you're sitting on your Sigma, you're trolling. If you're not marking their Tracer, pressuring their backline, look for opportunities to dive their Widowmaker, you're trolling. You have to. That's what your hero does. So that would be my recommendation. Do you have any questions?
Not really. I guess I just have to be more aware. I kind of just tend to not think when I play.
Sure. Practice it by tracking your teammates' positionings and enemy teammates' positionings before the fight starts, and then try to decide what you want to do. And then mid-fight, don't worry about thinking. Just play.
Okay.
But that's the first skill I would work on is like pre-fight, try and predict and try and take a guess. And then don't worry if you make a mistake, right? If you go, oh, I think my Junker Queen's going to push, and then she never pushes, and you don't do anything the whole fight, and you just die. That's okay. We're one step at a time, right? One step at a time. I think being aware of those angles and being aware of how the map is going to break down before it actually starts is a huge step. You could even do that in Spawn. Look at your comp. We're playing Tracer, okay? We're playing Zen, Tracer, you know, and we're playing like, you know, I don't know.
Yeah, Zarya. I kind of do that with my team comp, but like once the fight starts, I don't really track the enemy's team comp too well.
Sure. But right before the fight starts, on rollout, you see comp, ball tracer. You know what that means. You know, Junker Queen mirror. You probably know what that's going to mean more of, right? More push-pull with tank. You know, so that's something to work on one step at a time. But there's a lot of good things. I think your mechanics are fine. I think you have the right mentality of assisting people. I don't think the beats outside of that one were too bad. They looked okay. So yeah. Do you have any questions?
I think that would be it.
Okay. Well, let me finish.